We're going to look into just pure NBA fantasy now. Just going to go through some buy low players so that you guys can get some trade targets, warm up the old trade machine, float in some low ball offers, and get some good bargains on your hands. So I'll throw it over to you first, Cal. Give me your first buy low player.
So I've got Michael Porter Jr. I think it's a pretty good buy low at this
Yep.
point. He's not playing well right now. I think today he went 0 from 8 as well, which is like
He was
terrible.
shocking. Yes.
He's just looking out of place. He's not looking himself. His shot's not falling. I'm hoping he can bring it back. They need him to be a scorer. Maybe they should bring him back off the bench again. I think he just fits into that role better. Just go for the sixth man. And if that does happen, he can come off the bench and score you kind of 18 points a game. But right now, he's definitely fallen off over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a weird one because you see flashes, but then you see what's the opposite of flashes? You just see darkness, I guess. Like you just see just this black hole of 0 from 8 and just not a whole lot else. He had 7 rebounds and a block, but obviously we know he's averaging he's actually over an assist a game right now, 1.1, which is congrats, good job, Michael Porter. But just nothing else. But just a few games ago, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 4 threes, 60% from the field, no turnovers in just 28 minutes. So when he's on, he can be so good, but it's so maddeningly inconsistent that I don't know how to value him. What would you want to throw out to get Michael Porter Jr.? How low are you talking here?
Someone like in the 80s, 70s or 80s. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that's pretty good because he's got like kind of a 50 value. I think he can hit like that 50 that you're doing pretty well.
Look, he's still ranked 50th, even with all this sort of stuff. But I think that's almost a bit of a false 50th because he's only averaging the 1 turnovers. He's still averaging a steal and a block a game, which is valuable. And obviously
it's a turnovers that really jumps him up.
It does jump him up a fair bit. Look, if I'm right now, if you were to send me a top 70 player right now, Cal, I would nearly take that. I would, even though we're talking about him as a buy low right now, I think I would take that. So if I'm someone else, I would probably even try to go a little bit lower, maybe even just like a top 100 guy. I've been on fantasy forums and groups and people are talking about dropping him. So there's a lot of frustration there for owners. So I think you can actually buy really low. So I think that's, textbook buy low. Float someone out who's like around that 100 mark. And you might be able to get a trade happening on your hands. Look, it could actually go pear-shaped. He might even drop further than that, but the upside is so high that if it does work out, you could get a real good steal on your hand. So I wouldn't be trading anyone you would really miss though. All right, I'll throw it over to my first buy low, and I'm going to name Khris Middleton as a buy low candidate at the moment. Now, obviously on the season, he's doing really well, but just in recent form more so, has dropped off. He's ranked 29th on the season at the moment, but in the last 2 weeks, he's been outside the top 100. He's dropped off in his scoring and threes, is offering 0 blocks and turnovers are quite high at the moment. So if you've got someone who's going off the rankings and looking at the recent form of games, his scoring has definitely tailed away a little bit, which is interesting because obviously Jrue Holiday's been missing for the past few games. So I find that interesting. And you could even use the narrative that, hey, he's been playing this bad and Jrue Holiday's not been gone. Jrue Holiday's going to come back, affect him even more. So you could throw that narrative out to the owner. So I think you could get him potentially for someone who's, close to that like 50 ranked mark for an owner who's maybe struggling a bit more and needs some immediate value. Because I think he still is that like top 40, top 35 player moving forward, which we sort of drafted him to be. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I'll just say that Jrue Holiday is like, it's a good way to try and persuade someone to maybe make the trade and say he's going to drop off more. But Jrue Holiday is just one of those dudes who's just going to help your team so much. And he doesn't shoot a whole lot. He takes a lot of the defensive assignments. He creates a fair few shots as well. And Khris Middleton definitely benefits from him. I'll say that. And that is, I think, one of the reasons he's dropping off.
Yeah, well, his drop off in rank coincides directly when Drew Holiday was missing games due to COVID. So literally the 2 weeks that Drew Holiday's
Drew
been
makes
missing,
his life easier.
yeah, it's 100%. So I think that like from the data we've had this season, there's a direct correlation between those two things. So I think that's why, and some people might be thinking the opposite. So that's where you could use that sort of reverse psychology to get yourself a bargain and buy low there. Let's throw over to your last one here, Cal. We're just going to do two today. Your second buy low target.
I'm going to go with Derrick White.
Oh,
and the reason I say Derrick White is because he's back from injury now. So whoever owned him kind of suffered through all the pain. He's been back for about 2 weeks, and he's only been the 100th ranked player on Yahoo in the past 2 weeks. And you draft him at about 70. He's putting up about 12, 2, and 5. He's really valuable in the steals. He's only really putting up 1.2 steals and 0.8 blocks. So you're hoping it can go up. His minutes as well. It's only been about 24 minutes a game.
They're easing him back in a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they're easing him back in. So if you can maybe get someone who's just waited this long, and now he's back and the stats aren't top 70 value, maybe you could make a bit of a push to get him because he's only really going to go up from here, I believe. Like his field goal as well, 41%. That should come up as well.
Yeah, he's an efficient guard.
He is. And he should get more steals than the 1.2. His value would definitely come up in the next month or so.
The only asterisk I'll put next to that one there is that looks like the Spurs have a lot of COVID issues going on right now. So it looks like if you just look on the schedule, the next, what day is it now? It's the next sort of 3 games have all been postponed. So I wouldn't be making the move if you need immediate results, but if you can stand to sort of be a bit patient, wait a little bit, and you're in a good position, then yeah, I think it's a good buy low because some teams might sort of be panicking with all these missed games and all these postponed games that yes, they might be moving him. And his last game he did play was amazing. I think I tweeted out, this is why he was on our must own list that we had last week. He's only owned in 63% of rosters, and that's way too low for me. He should be on everyone's rosters everywhere. Obviously the missed games due to postponement is annoying right now. But if you can, I would definitely have him on your roster. And if you're in a deeper league and you can buy low on him, I definitely would, because I think he's going to be a top 75 player basically from here on out because he can get blocks, he can get steals, gets assists, he can shoot threes. He's going to be a decent percentage guy. He's going to be picking up a fair bit of scoring on that Spurs roster. So I think he's going to be a great player from here out as well.
He's also great on turnovers. So he's a great net positive for any team.
Yeah. He's not going to hurt you anywhere, really. Let's move on. I've got one more guy, and that one is another wing player, Gordon Hayward, who is currently a little bit injured, but nothing serious, I don't believe, at the moment. On the year, he's doing really well. I think we highlighted him as a bit of a sell high guy before, and obviously he's regressed a little bit since then. But on the season, he's ranked 35th, and in the last couple of weeks, he's ranked 87th. Hasn't blocked a shot in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, the steals that were up at nearly 2 a game earlier in the season have dropped off dramatically, averaging under a steal a game in the last 2 weeks. Scoring has been down to what it was previously. So, and obviously with the injuries and a couple of postponed games. And his injury was only lower back discomfort, so it's nothing serious. So you might just get an impatient owner that you could be able to snag. Someone who is going to be a top 40 player moving on. For a bit of a discount. So if you can do that, I think that's a definition of a buy low target. Do you like that pick up?
Yeah, I love Gordon Hayward. Once again, he's just a net positive to every team.
Yeah.
I guess his defensive stats aren't quite there, but otherwise he doesn't really hurt you a whole lot. His field goal over the past 2 weeks has been down. So I guess that is hurting you a little bit, but I love Gordon Hayward. I'd love to have him on my team.
Yeah. On the season, though, he's averaging nearly 49%. So that's another reason why his rank has been so heavily affected, because those percentages can play a big role. He'll be a much more efficient shooter than this, especially when he's playing with our guy, LaMelo Ball, who is carving up the NBA right now. So I think he's a textbook buy low.